Caucus. 7,000 teacher layoffs, which means growing class sizes. 14,000 vanishing daycare slots for working class parents, which will mean greater unemployment. 15,000 advantage vouchers currently used by families transitioning to stability, evaporating before our very eyes. More cost-inefficient emergency shelters will result. 20,000 less summer youth employment programs or slots for our young people, which means less positive and productive options for our youth. 20 fire companies closing, longer response times, and the smallest fire and police force we've seen in decades, which will mean a less safe city. This list could go on and on. This is a litany of despair, a litany of inequality, a report card on our upside-down priorities that have exacerbated the disparity which has led New York State to have the dubious distinction of having the most unequal distribution of income in the United States, and which has gotten much worse over the last 2 decades. And yet we want to continue to perpetuate this inequity, this injustice, by allowing the millionaire's tax to lapse, by punting when those of us who demand parity, who demand equity, ask for a more progressive income tax structure in this state and this country to ensure that all pay their fair share. Instead, Governor Cuomo and Mayor Bloomberg have bowed to Wall Street and continue to pave the road with gold to those gangsters that contributed to our current reality.
Yes! Yes!
And who are not being held accountable for their crimes and misdemeanors. The current reactionary state of affairs happening in Wisconsin, Ohio, and other states is not lost to us here in New York State and New York City. We too are witnessing vicious attacks on the working class. We too are experiencing the never-ending sense of entitlement and greed among the wealthy, and we too are living the increased stratification between the haves and the have-nots. It is disheartening when anti-union, anti-working class, and anti-working poor rhetoric is used to obfuscate the facts, to scapegoat teachers and other public workers for the deficits of our cities and our states. It is disgusting and downright scary to consider the impending cuts at the state level and those proposed in our fiscal year 2012 preliminary budget, which will eliminate very vital services to the most vulnerable. As our current term in the City Council continues on, the fiscal outlook is still dire. It's hard to imagine us cutting further this year, next year, the years ahead, when we already have and will be asked to do that. It is exactly what we're going to be asked to do, and we need to continue the fight. The working and middle class are the majority in this country, and our voices will not be silenced anymore.
Right.
The sleeping giants have been abruptly woken up, and boy, are we pissed.
Yes.
As legislators, we can no longer sit idly by and irresponsibly on the sidelines. It is high time that the wealthy, that Wall Street, are made to account for their greed, their sinful greed, made on the backs of the majority in this country, on the backs of those this sector of society wants to continue to exploit with no remorse. As co-chair of the Progressive Caucus, I make an appeal to all my colleagues here and beyond, to all those just as despondent and concerned with what our state of affairs is. We must continue to march, mobilize, scream, and shout. As we're doing here today, we must continue to act every step of the way to roll back the reactionary rhetoric that is currently abounding in our public discourse and that is enshrined in our budgets, thereby destroying our soul as a people and a country. If there was any time to act, it is now. This budget must be fair, this budget must be just, and I ask all our colleagues to act and to do what is right.